When I was a boy, everybody knew what a downwinder was. We were the anti-nuclear capital of the world. I was an autistic kid. My father was a drafted United States Marine, an incredible man. I come from an incredible family. My uncle stood on Omaha Beach on D-Day. I grew up on a huge ranch out by the lake. He was a beautiful, incredible person. He was at Pendleton, combat ready, and they were human guinea pig. They were marched into the trenches in Nevada. They're called atomic veterans. He nearly died at the blast. Between 1951 and 1968, we had 300 open-air tests. Well, as different scientists started to write about this, Wallace Stegner was at the University of Utah at the time. I got to know him. Edward Abbey was hanging around there. I got to know him. I got to know all these environmentalists, and I was an environmentalist, and it was a passionate, intense subject matter there.
All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. They'll be calling you a radical. Plumgate, 311, whatever you want to call it. I call it Pacific genocide, whatever. It's fucking giant conspiratorial across all demographics. All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. They'll be calling you a radical. All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. Plumgate, 311, whatever you want to call it. I call it Pacific genocide, whatever. It's fucking giant conspiratorial across all demographics. They'll be calling you a radical. May God have mercy on all of your souls.
Nuclear power was evolving. We were promised, oh, this can't happen.
Well, good morning, everybody in your dogma snuggies. There's a lot to talk about out this morning, a lot to talk about. Number one, Ken Buesler should be hung. That guy, I'm going to talk a lot about the fake anti-nuclear activists who claim that they're all nothing but fundraisers, and I'm going to explain the reality. I'm going to display the reality of the anti-nuclear movement for 30 years. I'm going to explain it, how it's evolved, and why. Ken Buesler, Helen Caldicott, Chris Busby, none of those guys are anti-nuclear. None of them. They are profiteers, and hear me out on this. This is very important, and I'm also going to talk about it's finally coming out now. The NSA has admitted, and it's been leaked out, that the NSA has launched a full-blown-out attack on activism on social media. Here we go again. They are finally admitted. Now, Snowden warned us. He told us, he listed the memo, that online activism, Facebook, do you think it's coincident the last few days, that Facebook and Google have totally lost count of view counts, have totally lost count? They say their software's down simultaneously. Now, these are two different companies, right? Right? I warned everybody this was going to happen on a Friday the 13th. Marie Antoinette let them eat yellow cake, stood at Stanford, signed an executive order giving full power to Homeland Security over the Internet. Snowden warned us. They are admitting now that over the last post-Fukushima, that Fukushima-type videos, anti-nuclear type videos, view counts have been sequestered up to 95%. Now you think about that. Like button has been sequestered, view count has been sequestered. They're admitting now that some of the videos in the early days of Fukushima and along the way to Fukushima, view count as it up as 99% low. Now you think about that. Some of my videos got, 15, 20,000 views, more likely millions, because here's what they did. They went in, and if it was not what Google said, and this is the NSA pulling this, said they were not 100% verified through. So what they did, any views that were in Europe, by the way, know this, did you know, a lot of people know this, that YouTube videos uploaded in the United States are being blocked all over Europe by the NSA. That's right. There was a lot of videos that were going into newspapers, online newspapers from the United States. My videos were showing up on front page major European brands, and no counts counted. I talked to the activists in Finland, the great activists that shut the French pricks down. He said several of my videos were on the front page of Online, the biggest newspaper in all of Finland. Did that reflect in view counts? No. They're up to it. They also issued warnings, and know this, this is a very dangerous business we're in. Snowden freaking released it a year ago that activists, they had a program and were full-flight out launching an offense and had an agenda to kill activists. For real. For real. Look it up. Snowden released it. They have launched full-blown out assault. Now, you think it's a coincidence right now, the last few days, view counts have crashed. They all go to 301 on these, so many of these videos. The like buttons have crashed. The view count has crashed because we've got gigantic momentum. Now, I want to explain this, and I want people to really understand it. This is important. Any of you people that think you're anti-nuclear or whatever, this is extremely important. I've been in the anti-nuclear movement for 40 years. 40 years. I know it inside and out. I wanted to explain to you about Ken Buser. Ken Buser should be hung. He's the worst rat of them all. Helen Caldecott, Chris Busby, they are not anti-nuclear. Now, hear me out on this. They are profiteers with publicists. Buser was at Woodhull's. By the way, Buser's PhD is fake. Buser is not a PhD. Buser is a profiteer. There was a woman at Woodhull's who lived in that area who just left a big endowment to study the ocean. He got his hands on it somehow. He got his hands on, I mean, we're talking a giant one, multi-millions. He bought this giant boat, and he went out. He's blown all the money. He's out trying to raise money. Now, hear me out. They know, and it's a fact, and it's real. Helen Caldecott knows it's very real because she tried it several times. If you really do go all in anti-nuclear, and you really do talk about the truth, Fukushima, and how dire it is, and how ugly it is, and how it causes cancer, and you go in Fukushima, the reality of those meltdowns, they know, because they learned from Chernobyl, that if you start talking about that, their funding dries up. Because here's the way the person that donates to Helen Caldecott, that donates to Ken Buser, that donates to Chris Busby, they've made a lot of money, and they've blown a lot of money. And by the way, Helen Caldecott, when she goes off on her against Americans, whatever, blah, blah, she lives in Boston. She has a great big house. All her family lives here. You know, she can lie all she wants. She's as Americana. She's more Americana than, you know, any of us. You know, she talks about her Australia. Yeah, she's got a place in Australia. She lives in Boston. She's a multi-millionaire. She's not this is her ex-husband's words, not mine. To me. I saw it with my own hands. She blackballed her supposedly and no one to say the word Fukushima. When Robert Scheer went on his great rant, Gutterson, and let him have it, which Scheer won that battle, boy, and I have it on YouTube, but we all have it. She got up and went on this rant against Scheer. Oh, I wouldn't have brought you here if you were going to really talk about anything, because it scares her investors. Her investors are little old ladies with their dog walkers. So is Ken Buser. So anytime you say fuck or raise your voice or get intense, whatever, she'll get on the line and she softballs right down. At the end of her symposium, she said, you have to be radical. You have to break out. And she said everything that I am, yet she hates me and blackballs me because she knows I know. She knows I'm onto her. I've been onto her for years. She knows it. She knows it. All of them know it. You ought to see them. They avoid me like the plague. People who have radio shows, you ought to see them. They avoid me because they know I'm really anti-nuclear. I hate them. I want to take them apart. Not only do I want to shut them down, I want them to all be hung in the streets. I want the people that murdered my father to be hung. I think these marine biologists, these fake softballers that all get a paycheck at Livermore, at Cal Berkeley, every major university in the United States, who's teaching chemistry, who's teaching, you know, ecological studies, all these things, and they've softballed Fukushima, and I think every one of them, for my personal belief, is they should be hung in the streets by the mobs. They're supposed to stand for something. They're supposed to mean something. They don't stand for anything. They are the worst. Look, to just ignore it, whatever, that's one thing. But to be what we call a softball pacifist, fake shill, those are the evil of the evil. Ken Buser is the worst. Ken Buser is trying to raise money. He sends emails out, and he doesn't ask for, 20 or 40, 500. He has no accountability with the money whatsoever. He blew $10 million. Know this. He blew $10 million. He blew our entire endowment. He bought a yacht. Now he's gone broke. So now he's redoing it again. So now he knows. He learned it from Busby. He learned it from these guys. You play softball. Oh, it's bad. It's okay. That's how they play, because that's how investors go to you. It's very simple. You got little old ladies that say, or you're not even little old ladies. You got all these people that think, oh, the dolphins are pretty. Oh, Fifi loves the sea turtles. He panders to them. They have money. They sit around, oh, yes, it's so bad, but, ooh, they don't want the truth, because the truth scares them, because they get scared easily. So, yes, it's bad, because all they're doing is making a donation to make themselves feel better. That's what it is, and they prey on those people, and there are millions of them, and it's a great way to raise money. I don't give a fuck about raising money. Sure, I need a little bit of money to do what I do, but I'll rely on people that are freaking really anti-nuclear, that are dug in. They'll show up, and they do show up. That's what they're up to. And they feed right in. The NSA, the CIA, the freaking nuclear cartel, the people that they love these people. They are their best friend. They're like, keep going. And they don't even have to sponsor them, which I believe they do sponsor them. They make sure that their view counts go to the top of the search engine. You ever notice everybody hates Ken Buser. Everybody knows he's a fraud. Yet any story he puts out will go right to the top of the wire. Now, we know. Snowden told us. He told us that Google and the NSA, Robert Scheer told us exclusively that Facebook, Google, in Silicon Valley is 100% co-opted by the NSA. Now, he said it right to my face. I talked to him personally, Scheer. He said it right to my face. He said this, Kevin, they control the search engine. They place what they want where they want. He says, I watch your videos. He says, they're sequestering you by at least 90%. Easily. He says, you have a flaw, and I can prove it. Even when I'm walking in California, whatever, people come right up to me. Now, granted, they'll say, oh, God, and they'll use, their softball freaking ways with me. But they all know me. They all know me, because they all seen me blaring all over YouTube, because I'm the only one that's called it from the day one to the exact detail. The only one. In the very appropriate thing. They hate me because I'm on to them. I call it out the exact detail the way it is. And people are not going to go to me because this is one heavy reality. A nuclear meltdown at Fukushima, our worst fears. Now you think about it. You're an anti-nuclear activist, but what was our worst fears? They eat nuclear, everybody. The people that have passed, the people that are in, our worst fears were full-blown out nuclear meltdowns. And I like some Chernobyl punk come to me who's never been to Chernobyl, has a website, Chernobyl Children, whatever. Fuck you. Look, he tried to tell me, oh, it's not a meltdown, it blew up and in the ocean. He's a fucking liar, and I can prove that he's a fucking liar. Again, there they go. He's probably sponsored by them, too. Let's get rid. The tritium well readings over there, that's the only data we're getting. That is the byproduct of nuclear fission. They've been spiking continually since it happened. So to say that all the corium is blown up and gone and floating in the ocean is bullshit. No, there are full-blown meltdowns that are active over there. That's why they're dumping the water. If there were the meltdowns and the corium had completely blown and was all over in the atmosphere and in the ocean, why would they need to do it? There would be no operation. It's over. They're fucking liars because that's what they're up to. Now, NSA and the CIA, and I warned everybody, he warned everybody that this was going on. It's very sad, and the American populace is playing along. The ocean's fucking dying. I saw it with my own eyes. It's fucking dying. Massive, fucking incredible death. Starving to death sea lions and pups by the hundreds of thousands. Starving to death birds by the hundreds of thousands. The seagulls have moved out. No sardines, no anchovies. The fucking tide pools from fucking Mexico to fucking all the way up, deader than fuck. It's been verified over and over by everybody. Big giant pine trees dying of radiation. Finally come out. California's coming out in a minute. It's fucking solar radiation. Which, how do they know solar radiation? They don't. A bubble created over the western United States. It's ironic, okay? So we go back 4 years. Our worst fear as anti-nuclear activists was a meltdown. Not only did we get one, we possibly got 5 or 6 or 7. We got 3 major ones we know, 1, 2, 3. 4 smelled all over. 5 and 6 have got spilled fuel in them. So the worst case scenario, it happened. It fucking happened. Helen Caldicott doesn't even use the word Fukushima anymore. By the way, call her up and ask her how much for her speaking engagement. She's older. She's a multi-millionaire. She's got adjusted to living this high quality. Got to see where she stayed when she was in New York. Got to see what she wears. High-end designer stuff made by slaves in Bangladesh. Look, if you're a real anti-nuclear activist, you're a human rights activist. None of them are. Kevin Camps, he's the worst. Tom Hartman, they're the worst. Oh, yes, it's a softball when it should be exactly the opposite. They love those guys. They fund those guys. Get this. Beyond Nuclear, he pays himself $150,000. This is John Hurley himself at the Million Mass March when I'm leading that march. By the way, I want to give a call out to my beautiful brothers and sisters of the Million Mass Marches. We're trying to incorporate now, which we've done the whole time, which I want to tell John Anthony and Steve Grant, look, I've had a term for it the whole time. I call it post-ignorance. They're organizing together all these movements and trying to put them under. And, well, that's what I call post-ignorance. And they're great, by the way. We have a group via the Million Mass March. So I'm leading that first gig. Yeah, John Hurley, the National Press Corps, the guy. He came right over to talk to me, came right over to see me, took pictures with me, talked to me, had a really long, unbelievable conversation with me. So, Kevin, I want to tell you some things that I know through my long experience. Kevin Camp is not anti-nuclear. I know him. He shows up at every elitist party. He pays himself $150 and his wife. They're pro-nuclear. Because as long as this goes on in a softball way, they live a comfortable life. They don't work. They don't do anything. Helen Caldicott has one incredible life. She's her own ex-husband. Helen is nothing but a second-hand movie star. And, Lonnie and all these people that are trying to join in the club, we fight about this. But I've done this for 40 years. I know her. I'm in New York. I'm right there with them. I've seen it with my own eyes for decades. This is not no opinion. This is well-documented fact. Chris Busby works right for the House of Windsor. He lives on a yacht. These people have made fortunes. So what they do, they'll say, yeah, it's bad, and then they calm down. Arnie Gundershill, call him up. I call up Maggie and ask her how much for things. They have murdered us, by the way. Ken Buesler is killing our movement because they are pro-nuclear. They work for the industry, whether in a passive-aggressive way, a pseudo-de-fact way, or just downright taking a check. Snowden told us. He warned us that this was going to happen, and it hasn't happening. And I can prove it. My uncle, the world-famous neurosurgeon, when I'm sick, in the hospital dying. That was one compelling story. Here's a guy's, anti-nuclear his whole life. Everybody knows it. YouTube's going crazy, 30, 40, 50, 80,000 views a day. More than that, sequestered down. You're going to get leukemia, then the guy gets AML leukemia, no chance of surviving, the worst kind you can get, and we're watching him fight in a hospital. In that period, everybody's paying attention. It's dramatic. It's intense. It's very real. He's in China he's in Taiwan giving, or Hong Kong, I can't remember which one. He was either in Taiwan or Hong Kong giving his speech. He's world famous. He doesn't like me, by the way, because he's drank the freaking goody two-shoe lying fake Christian Kool-Aid that are fake all the way to the bank. We look alike, we sound alike, we talk alike, we think exactly alike. Doctors at the LDS all know him, they know me, but it's a very subtle difference. He's drank the Kool-Aid on the fake thing from our bloodlines, and I know that our bloodlines were tricked in Denmark. And I know, and I tell him, they lied to our freaking ancestors, and I can show you their journals when they first got here. First handcarts all the way across. First people here. They were told in Denmark, in northern Denmark. They were told in Switzerland. They were told in freaking Nottingham, England. You're going to Zion. They pushed handcarts across here. They got all the way across here. And after they dealt with these people, they learned they were lying to them. And I can prove it to him in the journals. And think about it. You go down this whole path. You build up your children, your grandchildren, your business, whatever, on this false equivalency platform of fake Christianity, whether it be evangelical Mormons. So he's trying to say, and I call them out for the liars that they are. I call them out right to their face. and he can't handle the truth. So, and a lot of people cannot handle the truth. They can't handle me because they cannot handle the truth. So he gives a speech over there. In the speech, they see his name tags Blanch. Somebody in the Q&A asked him, "You related to Kevin Blanch?" Yeah. This is all kinds of people stood up and roared, clapped, cheered. He's like, I couldn't believe it. He comes home and he says, "Kevin, you're famous." I says, "Yeah, poor and famous. Fighting for my life." He laughs. Huh. They're sequestering view counts grotesquely. Now, we just proved it over the last few days. Do you think it's coincidence that Facebook, all online activists, and we all know this happened this week in the last 10 days, last little while, YouTube has completely lost track of view count. There's a lot of hot videos out there right now that are really telling, because it's being confirmed that we're right about Pacific genocide. They know it. They know, oh my God, Kevin Blanch, he called it to a T. His video, I put up video yesterday, me protesting at the Mormon church on Easter. They went to the 301 count so quick like that because they're getting views and they're getting tagged all over Europe, getting tagged all over. So what do? Stop view count, stop like button. Some of these videos of mine probably got thousands of likes. They're sequestering them, and they've admitted this now. They're admitting it now. It's Facebook and Google are completely separate companies, completely separate entities, right? You think it's coincidence they crash on the environmentalists at the exact same time? They know we've got momentum. They know. Stoughton said not only will they break the momentum, and they'll freaking crush, they'll use every dirty trick on it, they will start to kill you. They said it, come out. Huh. Now, we know there's been every attempt. And that's another reason people that softball, because they don't want to get killed. I fear no evil, for I have walked through the shadow of the valley of death. I fear no evil, for he is with me, his rod and staff, they comfort me. I've been to the edge. I've stood and looked down. I was going in and out of a coma. I watched my father die. I watched the loves of my life die of this brutal disease. I know the truth. I'm not afraid of these motherfuckers, because their souls will rot in hell for time and all eternity. These are the most evil people on the face of the fucking earth. Yeah, the nuclear cartel, Livermore, these fucking mass murdering, genociding fucks. But there's even more evil people. The softball, false equivalency, passive-aggressive activists. We call them shills, but they're much worse than shills. They're doing it for profit. It's like I said. So, and I proved it. As long as you're in this thing, say, oh, nuclear's bad, it's bad, it's bad. It's going to do this, and you give speeches, everything, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad. Oh, but when the main event happened, you make sure you say, oh, it's not that bad. When the worst fears happen, oh, it's not that bad, because the reality scares the fuck out of people. And the reality scares people so bad, these little old ladies that click the $1,000 button of Helen's by the thousands, they pull back. Helen admitted it. She admitted it 2 years ago, right after Fukushima. She brought in her idiots. She had Gunder Shields. She had all these softballs. She had the guy from Missouri, these softballers, who talk all soft and passive. But even she talked so much about Fukushima, her investors all come to her investments dried up. And by the way, her book is the exact identical book over and over. It's kind of like Dirty Harry, that biggest scumbag that ever walked the face of the earth. Easy is fucking Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood should be hung. He's made the exact identical movie since Dirty Harry all the way to the American Sniper, including Gran Torino, every single movie. It's the exact identical script of, oh, these so-called softball lefties, liberals letting these freaking evil, and vigilantism. He has created the gun fear complex of the country. He single-handedly did it. He's insane. He's mentally ill. He's a sick human being. So what he's led his fucking, well, not his, but I mean, they've willingly went along. Those movies are fucking the most grotesque hyperbole ever created in the history of mankind. And they move culture. If you don't believe that Hollywood can move culture and these sheep herders can herd their sheep, you're a fool. Oliver Stone. I used to like Oliver Stone. The tone was brilliant. He did brilliant work. He did all right. But where I threw that motherfucker completely away from me. Natural-born killers. Why did he make that movie? Again, pure hyperbole, pure lie, pure Freudian bullshit. How many murders that movie was responsible for? Kids right here and think. Hundreds, if not thousands. And it was all made up hyperbole. Why would you do such a thing? My guess, funded by the CIA. We know this. Come on. American television. Born and bred right after World War II. The same month that fucking the CIA. I can really dive into this. They control the media? Fuck. Easily. I mean, please. Hello. Fox News. I call it, I can prove this. I can prove Operation Foxconn. Fox News was put in place in the late 90s because the military, the smaller, leaner military. The American populace, we had this strong economy based on the fucking Fed actions of Volcker when he raised the interest and took the classical medicine. Clinton, they found this fucking, now let's remember Bill Walmart Clinton. The Democratic Party, as we go back to the Square Deal, the freaking New Deal, had for 100 years supported labor. The non-usury, the same thing that Jesus Christ supported. Same thing that all these quintessential human rights activists supported. Anti-usury, tariffs, labor laws, all these things that made America strong, made America the incredible place. Bill Walmart Clinton, the greatest neoconservative Republican in history, but he was anti-war. He fed Wall Street, gave him everything they fucking wanted. He destroyed the fucking Fed. He sucked fucking Greenspan's dick every chance he fucking got on his knees. You talk about Monica getting on her knees for Bill. Bill got on his knees for fucking Ayn Rand, Greenspan. Alan Greenspan, the greatest terrorist, treasonous fucker who should be hung in American fucking history, bar none. Bueller's right fucking behind him. Destroyed this country. 0% interest rate for 15 fucking years. Annihilated the fucking dollar. Thrashed the economy. That happened in 2000. I like everybody on YouTube. You jumped on it now. You're only fucking 12, 13 years late. The dollar thrashed in 2000 fucking 2, 3, 4, 5. Annihilated. The greatest devaluation of a currency in human fucking history. The United States dollar between 2003 and 2006. I stood in Manhattan as the euro went forward. I was a derivative arbitrage specialist. I stood there with the head of the EU, the European, the euro. He said, 98, 99, when they launched it, at 75 cents against the dollar was incredible. No inflation for 20 fucking years. Incredible strong economy. The dollar was so powerful. Gasoline, $1.20. The cheapest gasoline in the history of America. Fucking 19. It's pretty cheap right now too if you adjust the dollar. So he stands that we hope to have the euro trading equivalent to the dollar someday. Who knew? Just a few years later, we'd be in massive world wars. The leaner, cleaner military. That's why we were getting strong. We weren't spending fucking gazillions of dollars on Pay the Dragon Slayer, the military complex. The military knew it. The CIA knew it. They were losing control of their populace because they have to keep their populace in fear. The war machine, because we didn't need it. Closing military bases all over, the leaner, cleaner military. The military was done. The police forces, crime rates were fucking plummeting. People were moving off welfare by fucking millions. They knew it. So they created what I call Operation Foxconn. They did it through Fox News. Then they incorporated it into CNN, ABC, NBC, even more than they already did, which they already had them, by the way. They run out of the NSA program out of the Mormon Church, and I can prove that. There's no coincidence the NSA came here. I could talk about and really dive into detail how the Mormon Church was co-opted by the CIA in the 1960s through Spencer Kimball and Ezra Taft Benson, who are pure CIA. I can prove it, and you don't believe me, you look up Deep Throat. Look up who Deep Throat was. Lived right here. Mormon, right here. I can prove all this. It's very easily provable. So what do? They create Operation Foxconn. And Operation Foxconn was very simple. Propaganda machine. Rupert Murdoch, out of the House of Windsor. He can't do the insane fucking English Masonic fucking rats that fucking Bill Clinton was. Skull and crossbones, trumped the Masonics. They became the evil fire. Look it up. When Truman fucking... The line is very simple. Very simple. Yalta by the Sea. 70 years ago, almost to this day, My birthday's coming up in a couple days. So was the death of FDR 70 years ago right now, Yalta by the Sea. Dividing up the world, and the deal was no fucking royals. Churchill's out. All the royals were executed. Down to man, woman, and child. They were dead. Killed. Neo-feudalism was over. One left standing in England. Now Stalin, Russians did all the work. All the work. That's 28 million men. Churchill and Stalin understood this. They knew it. By the way, Churchill, the English Mason. Of course, FDR, the Mason. But like his other Masonic relative, Teddy, Morgan's words, we bought the son of a bitch and refused to say bought. They had some light about them. They read Hamilton. They broke fucking ranks. They hated the fucking royals. They hated the Queen. Both their words over and over and over. FDR said, and let's remember, Franklin Delano, the French ties, the French Revolution, the American Revolution. Come on, let's go. Who was fucking Marie Antoinette? Where do you think they got the money? She took the fall. She didn't do anything wrong. She didn't do it. Boy, did that turn into a blood fest. And then the American Revolution, they broke the French fucking government funding the American Revolution. Both fighting the same thing. Neo-feudalism. They killed all the royals. They slaughtered all the royals. Killed them. Oh, there's one inbred left standing. They're all cousins. One inbred bleeding cousins running the world. They fucking killed them. No more fucking Neos. So they're meeting at Yalta. There's Stalin. There's FDR. There's that piece of dog shit Churchill, that alcoholic Scotland Yard weasel. Biggest fraud in world history, Winston Churchill. The English did do nothing. English did nothing. They rode the fucking backs of the American. And they have been trying to get back America since the Revolution. It was theirs, right? America says, no, it's ours. And they're like, nope, it's ours. They played long ball. They got it all back. The United States is nothing more right now than a military colony of England, the House of Windsor, the Queen. That's all we are. That's all we are, and that's a fact. Colonialism never stopped. We use the American military and the American working class to fund the English fucking army. And the United States military is the English army. It is the Queen's military might that fucking colonizes every single corner of the fucking world, threatens them with nuclear bombs, fucking distill and extract nuclear resources in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Russia. What do you think is going on in Ukraine? They're colonized, and it's the House of Windsor. How did we stop that with a fucking tariff? You want to put the fear of God in it? So, Churchill's done. You can see those. He knows he's done. He knows it. Stalin and FDR are friends. They've agreed. Stalin, as evil as he was, take all of fucking Europe, all of Eastern Europe. It's all his. The United States take the rest. The United States takes Japan. England gets nothing. England gets nothing. They told them, fuck you. Your royals are done. You're done. We're even going to fucking take Scotland and fucking Wales and Ireland from you. They panicked. The day that FDR died, I believe it was April 16th, 70 years ago. First words out of Stalin's mouth. The English poisoned you. Who poisoned you? We know who poisoned you. I believe that they poisoned both of them. And a lot of people, and there's a lot of proof that proved that. So, they're getting nothing. No royals. That was the deal. That's how the United Nations started. It was called the Atlantic Conference. The Atlantic Conference was formed, and in their freaking original charter, no royals. No neo-feudalism. Well, the English played long ball. The House of Windsor, they own this fucking country. They own the NSA. And they did it through Fox News, Rupert Murdoch. They did it through Bill Walmart Clinton, an Oxford Rhodes Scholar. They find these guys. They put them in. And anybody tries to break ranks, they kill them. Oh, John Kennedy. Now let's talk about how did they go nuclear. So you have the socialist who's going to become president if he dies. Henry. He's been his VP for 3 terms. 3 terms. The great socialist. Hates the Queen with a bloody fire. The great tariff guy. What? On his 4th term, he's forced out and they find Harry Truman? They knew that FDR was getting to it at the end. They knew that the next guy would become president. How did they force him out? They did it through the Masonics. They did it through the English. They blackballed. Just like I know for a fact, I restored the 1905 Masonic Temple here. I can prove all this. I can get into it. They have me blackballed. My own attorney told me just the other day, he said, Kevin, I can't even represent you on any of these cases. Why? I says, you're a Mason, aren't you? He owned the building that I restored. And he said, well, I can't tell you that. I said, I know for a fact you are. I'm blackballed. I know that for a fact. I've been told this by multiple high-ranking Masons. Now, that's where the term blackball comes. They vote. Not only they vote you in or out, they think they are, and it's spilled into what we call skull and crossbones. Skull and crossbones. Let's talk about this. Look up who started them, Russell. Shane, you ought to look into this. Look into this. That's when nuclear got their fucking fingers in the door. That's when they made a power grab, and they demanded that Truman was pro-nuclear. That's when the next guy in line was the president of the University of California at Berkeley. The Manhattan Project. They knew that money was flowing there. That's when they incorporated and went in. They incorporated and went all in together because he would have never freaking dropped the bomb because he was listening to Oppenheimer. He was like, just scare him. So the deal was this. It was a very simple deal. Okay, you can have all of Europe, Stalin, FDR says, under one deal. You've helped us finish the job in Japan. The emperor will not freaking stop. He's slaughtering our Marines at Okinawa by the thousands a day. His people don't even know what's going on. We're firebound. They still won't stop. He doesn't care. We have to finish. You help us finish. We'll share because he knew that Russia also had a Manhattan Project going. He knew that. He knew they had as much nuclear capability then. They were right there. He knew that. He says, we share the bomb. Russia and the United States share the bomb. We'll drop a scare bomb, Oppenheimer. Then they find the Hungarian. Now, let's get real. The Hungarian teller, they find him. Let's remember how fucking deep-rooted the hate between the Hungarians and the Russians. The Prussians. It goes back to the hate. So they force Oppenheimer, call him a communist. When Oppenheimer says, no, scare him, kill the emperor. Don't do this. Teller's all in. They find him. They find Truman. They find everybody who's pro-nuclear. And they cut a deal at the fucking Democratic Convention. He's out. Truman's in. Oh, what a coincidence. The Royals are out. The Royals have a long history of killing anybody who comes back. Remember the 5th of November. It's a good reason we picked that. Not just because of the mask. Everybody says, oh, God, you picked that guy. We know what we're doing. The Million Mask Group, we know what we're doing. Do not kid yourself. John Anthony and I worked a long time together. Steve Grant together. You know, we work, and that group gets it. Do not kid yourself. We get it. So, bang. He drops dead. Stone. They play long ball. The thing that blocked all of Russia, the Tariff Act of 1791, Alexander Hamilton, the great abolitionist that he was, he saw it. The Scottish royal bastard son who fucked his beautiful mother and abandoned them. He hated him. Fucking hated him. He saw the slave trade. He was doing the books of the slave traders in the Caribbean at 12 fucking years old. One of the most brilliant men who ever walked the face of the fucking earth. One of the greatest probably the greatest human rights leader. There's only ever been one human rights activist in the history of mankind better than Alexander Hamilton, and that's Jesus Christ himself. And he used Jesus Christ as tools. Spirituality from the reality. And he convinced the rest of the forefathers. George Washington, the original Mason, he knew. He convinced him. George Washington called him his pseudo facto son. He opened up the gate and says, here, you do it. First aid employees of the United States, the Coast Guard, collecting duties at the port to block Chinese goods, which the Mexicans were doing in California at Monterey, the old Pacific capital. People forget that. The Mexicans had California from 1733 to 1848. I did a lot of great work there. The customs house. Making the cheap goods coming from Asia, you're paying a duty for protecting our working class. We're not letting you slow. Sound familiar? Did you know a ship could get quicker to the port of New York in 1776 than it can today? flattened the world my fucking ass. The greatest craftsmen in the history of mankind were shipbuilders and sailors. The greatest craftsmen in the history of humanity. They knew the trade winds. They knew the boats. Those boats sailed across the seas and used the trade winds. It was an art. It was elegant. It was intelligent. It was dynamic. It was incredible. The greatest, smartest craftsman that ever walked the face of the earth. And remember, Jesus Christ was a craftsman. He was a carpenter. He saw them breaking down the humans. I was a craftsman. Hawking trowel in my hand. That's how they go. First, they come to the craftsman. I was a craftsman. So many were not a craftsman. They did not stand up. Remember, they came for the freaking homosexuals. They came for the artists, but they came for the craftsmen first. To break, that's how you break the back. Paul Revere, the great silversmith that he was, that incredible craft. They were protecting. They dressed it up like Indians and threw them at him. They were craftsmen, protecting their freaking industry from cheap, junky Walmart fucking goods. They made nice stuff that lasted lifetimes and decades. Quality stuff, that good, healthy foundation. They learned it from the flower trade in Scandinavia. They knew it. They knew this. These philosophies went back 1,000 years. They knew the East India Company was raping the fucking earth. The foundation. The English knew. The English knew that their colonialism and their small penis fucking Freudian fucking trying to conquer the fucking world shit and let everybody do your work. The English have always let everybody else do their work. The royals. I shouldn't say, and I'm not talking about the English people, because the people live are the best activists. The best activists live in London. They're incredible. Look at the Million Masks. Look how they play. They get it. They're awesome. They're incredible because they watch these repressors through the American military complex. They watch themselves being repressed via the military complex. The Queen owns it. She sits back and laughs. People in Canada are rich. Why are they rich? Because they don't have to pay any of their tax dollars to their military machine that represses the world. The American taxpayer does it for them. Americans drank the Kool-Aid via Operation Foxconn. It's totally 100%. They pound mass murder in the name of Christianity. Do you think Jesus really wanted to mass murder his own brothers and sisters in the Middle East for no reason? No Iraqi did anything to you. No Afghanistan everything, but you're saying kill them, and you all go for it because you drank the Kool-Aid. The opposite of Jesus, and everybody who's participated is going to rot in the lowest form of hell. All the evangelicals, all the Mormons, and especially their leaders. Their leaders have led their flocks to the slaughters because they have led their flocks to hell. The Mormon Church, the Evangelical, Joel Osteen, Rick Warner, every one of them, even the Catholic Church, they have led their flocks to hell. They have created the greatest. They've bared false witness. They've mass murder, thou shalt not kill, the number one commandment. They've slaughtered by the millions. They've annihilated the fucking earth and poisoned the earth and given fucking people fucking cancer for time and all eternity. The greatest sin. And their populace and their flock has gone along with it. Which we know, Tim Shell, thou mayest, fucking, there's plenty of scriptures that tell us. If you believe in Jesus, you believe in these things, going along with the herd is no excuse. Jesus didn't go along with the herd. Through the money chant, he was angry. Oh, he was mean, he was mad, he was fucking intense. He watched, he knew. So did Hamilton. Jefferson even switched his dogma. Sleeping, having sex with his own slaves. Jefferson gave up his entire fortune. He blew, by today's standards, he inherited billions. Blew it all. He was broke by the end. Fighting the English machine. He hated them. He hated him. He went to France. He did what he had to do. He charmed. He did what he had to do. Last to the Mohicans. Let's remember the French and the English and the Spaniards have been fighting over this continent for hundreds of fucking years. Hundreds. Still. How did the English took it from the Spaniards? The Mexicans, which, let's get real, Mexicans are Spaniards. Please. You know, the switch in 1733 at Monterey, stood right under the tree. I have video, I stood at the plaque, right where the ceremony happened at the mission. Stood right there. Was it really that big of a change? Not really. Because the Mexicans were Spaniards. You know? So, as it evolves, tariffs, protectionist, socialist. America's socialist. The greatest socialist in human history, the strongest middle class in human history, 1945, 1979, the United States of America. Tax rate 91% on the 1%. 400% tariffs on autos. There's a reason everybody had GM. Work programs, hired artists, WPA, CCC. They went on. They created all kinds of evolution. The road systems, all of it. What happened? Now we loot. These fucking monsters and these people think they're on the winning team, these so-called corporations, it's like everybody thinks the stock market's the thumbprint of the American economy. No. It used to be. No. Post-1994, Ross Perot said it perfectly. Look at those two twins over there. They're both dead red. And he was, let's remember, this is a Republican saying this. They're both going to sign NAFTA, and you're going to hear, whoosh, America's over. We're going to be colonialized by the fucking Queen. Ross Perot knew it. He was smart. We're talking a billionaire, was willing to risk his fortune. Like Martin Luther King. Let's forget Martin Luther King. He would have took over his father's flock. You know how rich he would have been? He would have made Joel Osteen and freaking these Jesus died so I could be rich monsters look like he would have been the most famous preacher in America, bar none. He would have took over. He could have done that. He had the brain, he had the wit, he had the light, he had it all. He had the foundation from his father's faith. So the group is creating the civil rights movement. I like how they've turned Martin Luther King into race. There were just as many. There was probably more white supporters of Martin Luther King than black. He was a social inequality activist. He was a human rights activist in the spirit of Jesus. The guy got it. They go to his house and say, hey, you're the charismatic leader. Look at the way you speak. God speaks right through you. Whatever this light is, like Hamilton, God spoke right through him, whatever that light is. Those guys just had it, the light. They were born with it. You have to do this. He's like, are you crazy? I have little children. They'll fucking kill me. Jesus knew they would kill him. Hamilton knew they would kill him. John Kennedy knew they would kill them. Bobby Kennedy knew they would kill them. They did it anyway. He says, I'll pray about it tonight. Talked to his wife. I'll take care of the children. He knew that they would kill him. He had no doubt in his mind. He did it anyway. John Kennedy knew when he signed the non-proliferation contract and the open-air test ban, the mass murder test ban. He spoke about me as a 3-year-old person just like me. I'm a little 3-year-old mutated twin. My father nuked in the Nevada test site, lit up like a Christmas tree, human lab ratted, like they did the USS Reagan troops, like they did the 800,000 military personnel sites in Japan. This fucking rabbit is coming out. The truth is coming out, and the mobs are going to fucking turn. When the 800,000 military personnel at Fukushima, at Japan, understand that they were human lab ratted, and we can prove it, and they knew what they were up to. When the American populace knows that the media lied to them and Fukushima is killing the fucking earth and killing them in fucking right, the mobs are going to rise up. And they're going to hang these fuckers in the streets. They're going to go ballistic. NSA knows it. Stoughton told us. They know it. They know that social media has changed the game. They know that the great information age has changed all the game because you can't hide the truth. The Mormon Church knows it. We have a problem with the internet. I said, no, you have a problem with the truth. There's so much out there, and there's a lot of shit out there, and there's a lot of it. People are smart enough to weed through. And we're getting confirmation of everything I said from day one of Fukushima. I'm saying it's going to kill the ocean. It's going to create an epic drought. It's going to really heat over. It's going to rise. The cancer rates are going to spike. The Pacific Ocean is going to die. We're going to kill trees. We're going to kill vegetation. Everything that I've said from day one is coming to be. Is that prophecy? I don't know. What's his name told me the other day when I was down there. He says, well, I've been told this by family. You remind me of the prophet Jeremiah. That was an amazing man. There were lots of prophets. His prophecy through God, I believe it is, I call it the light. It's logic. Hamilton had it. Kennedy's had it. Well, Bobby had it. John had it. Martin Luther King had it. They killed him. And by the way, do not kid yourself. They killed his son, too. So John Jr. would have been, there would have never been a Barack Obama. Skull and crossbones, Barack Obama. Skull and crossbones, Barack Obama. Hillary Westinghouse Clinton. Hillary Rodham Clinton. Skull and crossbones, skull and crossbones, skull and crossbones. They're 100% the nuclear cartel. Skull and crossbones is the nuclear cartel. They are Cal Berkeley Livermore. Lawrence was one of the evilest men who ever walked. Teller, the evilest man who ever walked. Teller was Satan. Livermore is full of Satan. Cal Berkeley, all the people that have propagated this and wanted that's Satan. That is the devil himself. By definition, the false equivalent of Ken Buser, that is Satan. Ken Bueller is a fucking devil. All these folks, they are devils. Busby, they are devils. This is the quintessential fight that's gone on from the history of mankind. This is the light. This is enlightenment versus enslavement. We have one tool, a usury law. We have one tool, a tariff. The enforcement of anti-fraud law. Ha! They broke those down in the name of the military might. They false prophesied. They false fucking witnessed all the Middle East. Where did they make the quantum leap that fucking Osama bin Laden did fucking 9/11? The guys that did 9/11 were flying those planes. And remember this, they wrote the Patriot Act in 1998. Fact. The NSA, the powers there be, and do not kid yourself, Barack Obama is not in their club. He came out pro-soul right off the get. He's been threatened. He knows, and I can prove this. He's been threatened to the 10th power. He named Elizabeth Warren as the banker cited that Wall Street went to him and says, oh no, slapped her down. Everything that his agenda was, they went in and they threatened him, hardcore, and they brought him up to strong cross. I want people to understand, too, this about the Mormon Church when he was here. Did you notice the president of the Mormon Church did not meet with him? You know why? Oh, I know why. I can dive so deep into this. My knowledge and my bloodlines and my history growing up here is something. The Mormons know it. They know it. I am the walking, talking, breathing Mormon historian. They know it. There's an unwritten rule that the president of the Mormon Church will not take a picture with a person of color, no matter what. They're racist, hardcore fucking racist. Do not kid yourself. The President of the United States is here to meet with the Mormon Church, and the Mormon Church president does not show up. Sick? Oh, then why did he speak the next day at their general conference or 2 days later? Huh? They're racist. They're repressors. They're funded by the CIA. I can prove the Mormon Church is funded by the CIA. I can prove that KSL, their mouthpiece, is 100% funded by Operation Fox on the CIA. The guy that's the voice of Fox News is the voice of KSL here. The Mormons have went. They went to these church leaders. They went to Rick Olstein. They went to. Karl Rove said it right in his paper. Karl Rove wrote it out in detail. Karl Rove admits it. Karl Rove admits that he stole the election in 2004 and 2000. He admits it freely. Karl Rove's one of the greatest treasonous men of Congress, and he admits it freely. He's honest about it. He's bold about it. He should be on. He comes right out and tells us, right to your face, of all this detail, that they says they went, what they did is they used the CIA, and they went right to spiritual leaders. They went to the mega church leaders. He says that we went to the church leaders. We knew that we did an underground campaign, we could steal elections. We could take over the world. With our hate, kill fucking factories, military might, Operation Foxconn to bold up and fucking colonialize for the Queen. And for these elites, which these guys that you think are leaders are not elitists. I mean, we're talking the real powers that run the world, that control ugly inbred freaks in fucking, at the House of Windsor, at the House of Hansford, and they've gone along and participated. Remember Barack Obama sanctioned freaking Steve Chinese jobs to the White House right when he got elected and says, what about putting the tariffs back? Jobs fucking told him to fuck off. Steve Jobs says tariffs will never come back. Well, I got news. The only thing that never come back is Steve Chinese fucking jobs. That's why I call Fukushima the great fucking equalizer. Don't you people see? It kills rich people, too. It's amazing to me. All bros went right to Rick Olstein. They went right to Rick Warner. They went to all of them. They're paid. They have security. I've been writing those guys' faces. They have security teams that are with them, which is against the First Amendment of the United States. It's against the Non-Discrimination Act of the 1970s passed. You cannot discriminate and have nonprofit. They violate the law, but they can get away with it. They do whatever they want. Operation Foxconn. They control the media through Operation Foxconn. They've incorporated all these fucking Kool-Aid drinking, gun-toting fucking lunatics, which they know they'll give you a gun, they'll let you spend all the fucking money on the gun, the fucking bullets, but if you pull one, they're going to kill you. They know that. Go ahead and spend your money. And then they fire up all your FEMA camp shit. And they've already got you in a FEMA camp, and they did that through Wall Street and the fucking credit default swaps and the fucking derivatives, and none of the bankers went to fucking jail. They put you in your own FEMA camp, and you're getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, going on 8 o'clock, and to pay a mortgage on it. Not only that, all they do is keep raising property taxes, insurance, property. The greatest scammers in the history of the world are in on this too. Companies based right in Utah through the Mormons. The Mormons are insurance brokers. Even Buffett, he's guilty of it all. I mean, the insurance rapers, the rate back is less than 1%, when it used to be 96%. You never get any of your money back. You'll pay $1 million insurance your life. You're never going to get anything back. It's completely fucking lock, stock, barrel. None of this is going to happen. It already fucking happened. Too late? Mm-hmm. Is it going to take divine intervention? I think it's going to have a catastrophe, environmentally equal. We already had one. Fukushima that still didn't wake these fucking sheep up. I like these fat pig slobs who fucking call themselves evangelical preachers or leaders or spiritual and in the name of Jesus. Jesus was not a big, fat, sloppy, fucking fat pig feeding his face. He was not a fucking calm pacifist. Oh, no. He was the opposite of you pigs. He believed in freaking socialism. Heal the afflicted. Feed the poor. Socialism by definition. You guys are all the opposite. The spiritual leaders and the flocks that are gone like, Johnny, get your gun. Kill. Forgive them, for they know not what they do. Those are people killing him. You are the opposite. We have 200 million devils in the United States. I can prove it. 100 million people watched AD, and they all call themselves Christian. 200 million people say they're Christian, and they're the exact opposite of Jesus. Because the Christian community says you must be Christ-like. They say they're Christ-like when they are the exact opposite of hairspray on and makeup. Jesus had long hair. Blonde-haired, blue-eyed pictures of Jesus was brown-eyed and dark. He was Mediterranean. He was freaking Middle Eastern. He was a Jew. He was a peasant because they stripped his freaking craft away from him. He was a carpenter. He was pissed. He threw the money chain. Buy here, pay here. Usually you all participate. Mortgage brokers, insurance brokers, car salesmen. You're all into it. The service base, you got our young generation serving you coffee, washing your feet. You got a brown people paying him cash, mowing your lawn, cleaning your toilet, cooking your food. Jesus was the opposite of all that. Oh, they appreciate it. No, they don't. I slept with them under the underpasses in Monterey. Fucking, you're abusing. Jesus stood up for that. How did you do it? With a tariff is how you do it. With anti-usury laws is how you do it. The American populace should be ashamed of them fucking selves. Tim Shell, you are accountable for your own actions. Men are responsible. You cannot blame your leader. You cannot blame fucking you. You have to look in the mirror and blame yourself. You went along. You drank the Kool-Aid. You walked your dogs on the beach and killed the ocean. You fucking willingly fucking pulled back on people like me. You willingly says, I will not go with the truth. It's okay that we slaughter fucking future generations. It's okay that we poison the fucking earth. I can prove it. Climate March, 450,000. We'll talk about Fukushima. Anything that really matters. Gay Pride fucking marches, like 100,000. We'll talk about Fukushima. I go on and on and on. We'll talk about Fukushima. Nuclear meltdown, the main event happened. The anti-nuclear activists, the main event happened. You all fucking got some fucking repenting to do. And my suggestion is everybody get on their fucking knees and repent. Now, I'm not that religious, but I know what Jesus stood for, and most atheists and all great human rights activists know that he's the greatest human rights activist that ever walked the earth was Jesus Christ. I know what he stood for as a human rights. Has nothing to do with religion. Absolutely nothing to do with religion. Has to do with wrong and right. And you have all drank the Kool-Aid. And I would, my suggestion to all baby boomers and echo boomers, you gun-toting fucking mass murder and kill the fucking earth, right? Drink the Kool-Aid, fucking me, fucking get on your fucking knees and you pray to fucking God forgiveness. What you have done. What you've done to your grandchildren, to your great-grandchildren, to your unborn great-great-grandchildren. You should be fucking ashamed of your fucking selves, every fucking one of you. People that attend church on a regular basis and hairspray, exploiting fucking labor, you're devils. There are 200 million devils, whatever that may be, of evil spirit in this country. You're driving your shiny coffin back and forth to your fucking car, and you participate. You say, oh, it's not my fault. I've been chemtrailed. I've been GMO. I've been vaxxed. Bullshit. You are accountable. Tim Shell. Look it up. The Old Testament. Men are responsible. Thou mayest, the Hebrew word. Men are responsible for their actions. Jesus said it over and over and over. Your own teachings say you're responsible for your own actions. God helps those who help themselves, and not by getting a gun. How is that killing another human being? Thou shalt not kill. Forgive them, for they know not what. My pilgrimage, I walked all the way up to Easter Sunday, and I capitulated at the Mormon Temple. What a pilgrimage I made from New York to the coast of California for freaking 50-something days. 40-something days. They capitulated at Martin, and then NSA sequesters me. They're going to smash me down. For I fear no evil. I've walked through the shadow of the valley of death. I fear no evil. For his rod and his staff, they comfort me.
All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. They'll be calling you a radical. Twin Gate 311.